Hey everybody, it's Tracy with CRRV, and tonight I'm just going to make something really simple and quick for dinner, something that's good and filling and kind of a comfort food for Brett and I. It's just going to be what I call hamburger steak with gravy and mushrooms and onions. A lot of people, somebody might call it Salisbury steak, but for me it doesn't really qualify as Salisbury steak unless you're mixing stuff in with the hamburger meat. So, I'm going to start off with 2 pounds of hamburger meat that I have divided into 8 different patties. This hopefully will last us for a couple of days. And I've got a big plate full of sliced onions. I think I used 4 small onions. We really like the onions. Those are totally optional. I got to have some mushrooms. I've got an 8-ounce package of already sliced mushrooms. We're going to be using about a half a stick of butter and about 4 tablespoons of flour to make the gravy with. And the most important thing that is going into this gravy is going to be this beef broth base. And I had asked Heather on the Needy Homesteader to tell me how she made such good looking brown gravy, because my brown gravy has always been awful. And so she told me that she used Tone's beef based. Well, at Walmart and where I live, they don't have Tone's beef based. They had something called Better Than Bouillon, and then they had this Orrington Farms, Orrington, and I bought this instead because this little bottle, this little jar, makes 56 servings. That's a lot of beef broth in one little can. And it turns out that it is actually, still got the lid on it a little bit, it's actually a powder, kind of like bouillon, but much better than any bouillon I have ever used. As a matter of fact, I liked it so much that I bought the chicken flavor, and I just ordered the ham flavor. I had to order it online because apparently they don't carry it at Walmart in Alabama. So I ordered the ham flavoring as well to do some other stuff. So first of all, first thing I'm going to do is get started on sauteing or frying up my hamburger patties. I'm going to fry them. I'm going to give them a good sear, and I'll bring you back when I get some area cleaned off of here so I can set you up. Okay, so I am over here, got my hamburgers going. I'm going to check them and see if they're ready to turn yet. Oh yeah, they're ready, and I'll show you what they look like. Let's see if I can get that one out. See how they've got that nice brown, almost burnt? That's just how I like it. Go ahead and flip all those and let that happen on the other side. And I didn't have room for all 8 at one time. So I'm going to add that one in there for now anyway. And we're just going to keep it on, letting it get nice and cooked. And we'll see you back here in just a second. Okay guys, there they are. All nice and got a good sear all over the outside. I'm not so worried about getting them done on the inside because they're actually going to sit in the gravy that I make for about an hour before we eat them, so they will be cooked thoroughly. So I have got a little bit of grease left in my pan here, and I'm actually going to use that to saute my onions. I've reduced the heat down to about medium, and we're just going to pour those in and let those get nice and translucent before we start anything else. Oh, and they smell so good already. Oh, yum. So, I will let those cook, and I'll be back. Alrighty, we've got our onions. Not quite translucent, because if I go all the way translucent, when I put them in the gravy, they're just going to disappear. So, I'm going to take these out now. Put them over here on my plate, so I can get ready to make my wonderful brown gravy. Alright, so still on medium heat, I have got my half a stick of butter here. I'm going to sit that in there and let that get good and melty. And one of the things that I will need is Worcestershire sauce. Don't know if I'm saying that right or not, but that's how I say it. Worcester, W-O, however you say that. That's what we're going to put in there. Just a few drops, though. And let our butter get all good and melted. While we're waiting on our butter to get completely melted, I am going to go ahead and prepare 4 cups of that beef broth. And we will be needing 2 teaspoons per cup. So I'm going to need 8 teaspoons, which is going to translate to about 2 2/3 tablespoons. 3 2/3. So 1, 2, 3, and 2/3. Alright, we'll stir that up pretty good. And put this back down here with the stash. That's another thing about this. This doesn't have to be refrigerated. The beef base, the tones, and the better than bouillon, they both have to be refrigerated once you open them. So I thought that was another convenience. Okay, so I've got 4 tablespoons of butter in my pan. I am going to add about 4 tablespoons of flour. There it goes, 2. And we're going to call that 4 for now. Let's wait and see if we need any more. And where is my favorite spatula? There it is, favorite spatula. And we're just going to create a roux here. And we want to let that flour cook enough that it's not raw flour tasting when you eat it. So we got to keep stirring it. We don't want it to burn, but we want it nice and done. Give it another minute or so. Keep stirring it constantly, and you'll see. I could probably use a little more flour there, but I'm going to keep it. I don't want it really thick gravy, but I want it to have some thickness to it. So, okay, we're getting that nutty flavor, nutty smell to the roux. So that means that my flour is done. So now I have got those 4 cups of beef broth here. See what a pretty brown broth that made? And we're just going to slowly add that in. Stirring the whole time. Woo, my glasses just fogged up. And Give it a quick stir and let it thicken up just a fuzz. At this point, I probably want to turn my eye back to high so that it can continue to boil. And there we go. 4 cups in the pot. Now that is slowly going to thicken as it boils, and we are ready to add back our meat and our onions. So let's do that right now. I'm going to put the onions in first, and we're going to add the beef. And then we're going to add our mushrooms. And at this moment in time, I am not going to add any salt or pepper because the beef broth has salt in it. The Worcestershire sauce has salt in it. I did put a little bit of garlic, salt, and pepper on the hamburgers before I fried them, but not much, just a little. And we're just going to let that sit there, come back to a boil, and then I'm probably going to reduce it to a simmer, and we'll see you in just a little while when it's done. Okay, there we go. We have got our gravy and onions. Not too thick, but thick enough for me. And I did wind up having to chop up a couple of extra onions and put in there because the onions did exactly what I knew they were going to. They just disappeared in the gravy while it was cooking down. So, there we have it. Dinner is ready. I mixed up some instant mashed potatoes to go with it. And I will show it to you when I get it on a plate. And there we have it, folks. It is dinner time. Everything is going to be great. And we will see you next time on CRRV.